Hey friend, welcome back. I'm so glad that you are listening today or watching today. If you're watching this on YouTube, I felt really pulled to jump on and record this podcast around karma. I was just minding my own business. I was making my daughter's lunch and the postman came to the door, and it was this letter that came through the door called Census 2021. I don't know if anyone else has had this. I don't know if it's just a UK thing. Anyway, it's funny that I opened the letter because it was addressed to the homeowner. Now, anything that I receive that's addressed to the homeowner, it just goes in the bin. It just gets shredded. I never open it. But on the front of the envelope, it said, "You are required by law to open this." And it's, first of all, it's interesting that because I read that, even though it wasn't even addressed to me personally, so they don't know who I am or where I live, which is fascinating in itself, that I still felt the need to open it because it was coming from a place, a position of authority. Because ever since we were children, we have been conditioned that if someone from a position of authority is telling us to do something, a doctor, a teacher, a police officer, then we listen. And so I opened the letter. Anyway, inside this letter, it tells you that you must complete the information that is asked of you. Again, doesn't address me by name, gives me a code, a personalized code. So obviously that personalized code is then obviously going to link my name to my address. And it says that if you have to complete it by law, and if you don't, then you may be fined £1,000. And I laughed. I read it and I laughed because I thought, wow. So let's back up a moment and look at what's happened over the last year. You know, we're on the 2nd of March now, and it was around this time, it was about in a couple of weeks' time, that we first ever went into a lockdown. People are sad, they are anxious. Some of them have lost people through many means, not just the said virus. People have been starved of human interaction. They have lost homes. Some people, have ended up homeless. They have lost jobs. They've lost relationships. They've lost their minds. And there's always been this threat that has hung over the heads of everybody in society. If you do not do what you are told, we will fine you. Funny, I saw something the other day that said about how every fine that had been appealed or every fine that had been brought to court from, when people were being told, you'll get fined £10,000 if you open your business, and you'll be fined this if you wear a mask, or if you don't wear a mask. I didn't really look into the specifics of this particular article, but on the face of it, it was saying that every single fine that went to the Court of Appeal was granted, was appealed. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that really interesting? And now we're receiving letters through our door from the Office of National Statistics. Interesting, again, because obviously statistics has been a big thing over the last year, whether or not you can trust them. And it's saying that you must complete this information. You mustn't supply any false information. Some questions are voluntary. You know, that's not an offence to not answer those, but it is an offence to not complete this information. I find it fascinating that this is okay to laud that level of control over people. Some people will see that and will feel they'll just do it without thinking about it. Oh, I've got to do it because, you know, it's against the law if I don't. Other people are going to see it, and it could be the last thing that tips them over the edge. Not everyone's going to look at that through the eyes that I did and think, is this some kind of a joke? Like, this is really interesting. It's really, really interesting. So I sent it on to my partner and said, this is wild. Like, this is, I've never seen one of these letters before. And I've been a homeowner for more than 10 years, and it says that it happens every 10 years. So it's these threats, like these constant threats, like it's just not okay. Anyway, I went to go on live on Instagram, to discuss it, to see if anyone was live. Like, I wanted to hear what people's opinions were. And then I thought to myself, I'm on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook. Like, I don't have the app or anything. And I thought, this is like a job for Facebook, isn't it? That's the place where people like to complain. And, you know, I'm definitely going to, if I put that vibration out there and I question these things, it's definitely going to start a debate. Anyway, as I went onto Facebook, there was a post that I saw. And it's funny how these little synchronicities happen. And I love a synchronicity. But there was a post about someone who had started a crowdfunding page to ask for help for starting her business or for expanding her business, which I fully applaud. However, what had happened is this post was actually a complaint. It was saying, please report the person behind this crowdfunding page because she's in this person's eyes, she had stolen money because it was for a cause for her specific diet choice, which she was now claiming that she was ill from. So she was advocating against that diet choice, which in itself, again, is fascinating, because for me, that it's just this whole thing about labels, you know, like we so want to belong to something, because when we're born, we completely lose sight that we are part of something so much bigger. So we spend our lives searching for something. We spend our lives trying to find that thing that we belong to. And we already belong. As soon as we're born, we already belong. But we get taken away from that. Anyway, this same person that was now being lynched, I don't know if I could say lynched, but you can see that it could very quickly turn into people being upset, people being angry, people feeling like they've been taken for a ride. That same person tried to bring, I don't want to say tried to bring one of my businesses down, but was plagiarizing one of my businesses. And I've not spoken out openly about this. Now, at the time when this person was taking my content word for word, taking my recipes and trying to take my business, I felt so sad. It's one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy my own business. I had started up something that I was so excited about and that other people were excited about. And I thought that through creating that, the other people that were in the same industry were going to rally around and be really supportive, because I'm a big believer in collaboration. I was so inspired by what it was that she was doing. When I discovered her after I'd actually started my business, I was never inspired beforehand. I didn't know she existed. But I loved that she did similar things to me. And I thought her food looked amazing. And I remember just like wanting to just love on all of her posts. And then she just started doing really weird backhanded things and getting members of her family to comment on my posts and stuff to try and make it look like my food was inferior. But I was never wanting to rise to it. There was one occasion when I did, but I was never wanting to rise to it. And so I never publicly said anything. There are a couple of people that I had spoken to about it, and they had said that they'd experienced the same thing. But it made me think about karma. And it's interesting that both of those two scenarios with the threats coming through my door, because that's what that is. That letter from the national statistics, that's a threat. That's a threat. If you don't do this, you might get fined. By law, you have to do this. Like, really? Really? By law, I need to fill out information so that charities, the education sector, and the healthcare sector, so basically the government, can know what I need, so they can charge more money, or what's the real reasons behind it? Why am I being held over a barrel and told you have to do this, otherwise you're going to get that's a threat. So it was interesting that threat came through my door. And then when I went onto Facebook to kind of to voice my concerns around it, and what did everybody else think about it, and had they ever seen one before, that I then saw that somebody who was causing threats to me before was now probably going to be on the receiving end of threats. So can you see why? And I don't condone that, by the way. I hope that she gets better. And I think it's just interesting and very sad that that's what's happened. But it really made me think about karma and how what we put out there into the ether will come back. It will come back every time. And that unnerves me, and it empowers me in equal measures. It unnerves me because I've made mistakes in the past. I've said horrible things, I've done horrible things, and I would never want that to be to come back after I've like repented, if you like, after I have made that decision that to apologize. I don't know if that really makes any difference in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. I think when you put an intention out there, eventually it comes back round. But I just felt that this was it was a good reminder, not only that we need to be careful with the words that we speak and what we put out there vibrationally, but also to trust and to have faith that anyone that is doing something from a place of from a dark place, anyone that is making threats, that is being abusive, it will come back and bite them on the butt. So it kind of gave me more confidence and more trust than anything else to know that I don't actually need to start a debate about the letter I received through my door. I don't need to give it any energy. I don't need to give anybody or anything any energy that is trying to lower my frequency. Because in not reacting, eventually those people, organizations, whatever, I feel will come unstuck, because everyone eventually shows their true colors, and there's a last time and then there's a last time. And sometimes, if not all the time, you just have to trust that if somebody is doing something intentional to hurt you, or is doing something intentionally to try and lower your frequency, to destroy you, whatever, if that intention is so polarized, it's so bad, they will only get so far before that comes back to them. And it's the same with having a good intention. How many times have you been in a situation where you have just felt like you are just giving and giving and giving and giving, and you've got so much love and you've got so much love, and you just keep giving it all the time, and you're so kind, you're such a good person, and you put everybody else before you, and you think, why is it always me that's giving? Why am I never receiving anything? Just trust that that is going to come back to you, because you are putting out such good intentions. It will come back to you, and it will come back to you in unexpected ways. So yeah, just wanted to share that. I hope that's gone some way to brightening someone's day. Just trust the process, because karma's always working, whether we like that or not. Have a good day.